Hi everybody, my name is Mackenzie Collins, and my MSED professional project is titled Crafting a 12th Grade Curriculum to Fill Diverse Literature Gaps in High School English. For my project, I developed a curriculum that aims to make a compelling case for broadening the literary landscape within high school English classes. My curriculum highlights and fills 8 diverse literature gaps that permeate our education system, focusing especially on voices or perspectives that have historically been overlooked or marginalized in our society. The importance of a diverse and inclusive curriculum is more pressing than ever. There is a growing call to expand beyond the traditional literary canon to introduce students to more inclusive literature. Social movements and an increasingly diverse population highlight the need to ensure that all students see themselves reflected in their studies. Therefore, I created this project to broaden the curriculum and address existing gaps in literature. Many English classrooms across the United States have also traditionally focused on a narrow selection of texts, primarily featuring Western, male-dominated perspectives. This has resulted in a significant gap, excluding literature from diverse and marginalized voices. Addressing this disparity is essential to ensure that all students see themselves and their experiences reflected. I also chose to create this curriculum due to my own personal experiences with literature. As the daughter of an English teacher, I developed a love for reading that broadened my perspectives in ways that my small town wasn't always able to. College literature classes exposed me to diverse cultures and ways of life. During my student teaching in El Paso, Texas, I worked with predominantly Hispanic, bilingual 8th grade students, where I learned to integrate reading and writing into the classroom in unique ways. I've not only loved literature all my life, but I've learned so much from it as well. Through this project, I also strove to meet the WU MSED learning outcomes. The first outcome is demonstrated by my creation of a comprehensive curriculum, which drew upon my understanding of literature, teaching strategies, and pedagogical theories. To achieve the second outcome, my project was grounded in extensive research and evidence. The third outcome is reflected in the enhancement of my professional education leadership attributes through collaboration and feedback from other educators. As I formulated the literature review for my project, there were 3 main themes that emerged. The first theme is centered around the need to reevaluate the existing literary canon due to its exclusionary nature. Efforts to expand the canon by incorporating marginalized literature aim to challenge established norms and broaden representation. However, there's also a need to critically examine the historical and societal factors that underlie the canon's formation. Rather than simply expanding the canon, efforts should focus on reshaping its structure to be more inclusive and representative. The second theme is centered around the integral role of perspective-taking and multiculturalism in English education. Incorporating multicultural texts is widely acknowledged by scholars as essential for fostering understanding of literature, self, and global cultures. Perspective-taking serves as a valuable pedagogical tool for promoting deeper understanding and respect for diverse viewpoints. To effectively leverage perspective-taking in teaching multicultural texts, educators must foster authentic contemplation of conflicting perspectives and promote sustained, lifelong learning among students. Comprehensive multicultural reforms are also necessary to address the unique knowledge and skills that students of diverse cultural backgrounds bring to the classroom. The third theme revolves around the identification of specific gaps in literature representation within high school English classrooms. Despite some widely acknowledged disparities, many are not given the exposure they deserve. These disparities are further complicated when you consider intersectionality, a term that has evolved to encompass the concept of overlapping identities and the intersecting systems of oppression and inequality present in different aspects of society. For this reason, intersectionality became a theme that is explored throughout my entire curriculum because it provides a key pathway to explore and connect a variety of literature and perspectives. Also, while marginalized voices may technically be included in curriculums, mere inclusion is often insufficient. Creating a multicultural classroom requires more than token representation. Addressing gaps in Native American literature and other genres like environmental literature and spoken word poetry necessitates a comprehensive and inclusive approach. While certain genres may be included in curriculums, a multitude of diverse perspectives often remain untapped and underrepresented. To design a comprehensive curriculum overview that fills these diverse gaps, I first decided on 8 literature gaps to address, which was a bit of a challenging process. I struggled choosing only 8 because I knew that meant still leaving out others. But after considering several factors, I settled upon the following units to include in my curriculum: Native American literature, intersectional feminist literature, travel literature, dystopian literature rooted in non-Western culture, LGBTQ+ literature, environmental literature, graphic novels, and spoken word poetry. Using a 2024-2025 school year calendar, I was then able to create a schedule of when each unit would be implemented, including considerations for holidays and school breaks. Based on the calendar and the number of available instructional days, I chose to schedule 2 units per quarter. I then began designing the units themselves. To do so, I used backward design, a pedagogical approach recommended by many educational researchers that starts with the end goals in mind. This method involves defining the desired outcomes first, and then planning instructional strategies and assessments that align with those goals. I started by formulating unit objectives that articulated the specific knowledge and skills I expected students to develop. For example, in the intersectional feminist literature unit, the objective was for students to have the ability to analyze how intersecting identities, such as race, gender, sexuality, and class, influence individuals' experiences of privilege and marginalization. Next, I identified key understandings that students should gain through their study of each unit. I then crafted essential questions to guide students' inquiry and exploration. I designed these questions to encourage students to look beyond the surface level of the text and engage in deeper analysis. I then designed a variety of authentic assessments and tasks. For this unit, students would create visual representations of their own intersecting identities, reflecting on how their identities shape their experiences. This task encourages self-reflection, critical thinking, and creativity, allowing students to apply intersectional analysis to their own lives. The final step in designing the curriculum overview was the selection of literature and supplementary materials for each unit. This involved choosing 2 or 3 core texts for in-depth study, along with additional resources like articles, videos, and short stories. I aimed to choose texts that would engage students and stimulate critical thinking about the unit's themes. The diverse selection is intended to challenge students, promote empathy, and inspire meaningful discussions. In the curriculum overview, each of my units includes 3 unit objectives, 2 to 3 key understandings, 3 essential questions, and 2 to 3 assessments or tasks to monitor and assess students' progress. My next step was designing 3 detailed lesson plans for each of the units that I chose to focus on, which were intersectional feminist literature, LGBTQ+ literature, and spoken word poetry. I was careful to ensure that these plans aligned with the overall unit goals. For each of the 3 units, I created 1 lesson plan to be implemented at the beginning of the unit, 1 in the middle, and 1 at the end. This placement offers flexibility and encourages continuous reflection and refinement to meet students' needs. Each lesson plan also follows a clear structure: opening activities to engage students, during activities to address core learning objectives through various instructional methods, and closing activities to consolidate learning and connect to broader unit goals. As supplementary materials, I also crafted a learning contract and a letter to parents which would be distributed at the start of the course. I designed the learning contract to foster a learning environment where students take responsibility for their educational journey. Grounded in andragogical principles, the contract treats students as active participants, promoting autonomy, self-assessment, and student agency. Key course goals were then translated into actionable agreements. For example, commitments to actively engage in class discussions and approach each text with an open mind were included to enhance participation and encourage appreciation for diverse perspectives. While designing the letter to parents, I aimed for clear communication about the course's objectives, expectations, and content. This prepares parents for the mature content and challenging topics, ensuring they understand the importance of discussing these issues in a structured environment. By providing this information up front, Parents are also less likely to be surprised by the course's content. The letter also shows sensitivity to diverse perspectives and respect for parental input, inviting communication and collaboration to form a partnership approach. A representative example of my project is the Intersectional Feminist Literature unit, which exemplifies a comprehensive approach to exploring feminist thought and activism through the lens of intersectionality. This unit is designed to empower students to critically engage with a diverse array of voices, narratives, and perspectives. Key objectives of this unit include enabling students to analyze the influence of intersecting identities on individuals' experiences, identify and critique instances of resistance within intersectional feminist texts, and evaluate the use of storytelling, poetry, and personal narratives as tools for resistance and empowerment. These goals are aimed at enhancing students' ability to critically assess the strategies and techniques employed by intersectional feminist authors. The unit also aims to cultivate a critical awareness of the structures and ideologies that perpetuate systems of power and privilege, such as patriarchy, white supremacy, and heteronormativity. This focus on intersectional analysis not only enhances students' literary skills, but also equips them with the analytical tools necessary to understand and address social inequity in broader contexts. The Intersectional Feminist Literature Mid-Unit Lesson Plan is also representative of my project, as it translates the unit's comprehensive objectives and understandings into practical, engaging classroom activities. This lesson plan centers on the poem "And When You Leave, Take Your Pictures With You" from This Bridge Called My Back. By focusing on a powerful piece of literature that addresses themes of marginalization, representation, and allyship, it encourages students to delve deeply into the nuanced experiences of marginalized individuals. The lesson is also structured to promote a thoughtful progression from individual reflection to group discussion and creative expression. The opening activity allows students to personally engage with the poem through reflective journaling, helping them to articulate their initial reactions and connections to the text. This then transitions into the subsequent student-led class discussion. The guiding questions are intended to stimulate critical analysis and deeper understanding of the poem's themes. The after activity encourages students to create a visual representation of how they perceive themselves to be portrayed by others, using a paper with an empty picture frame on it. This creative task not only reinforces the themes discussed in the poem, but also allows students to express their own experiences and identities in a tangible way. The creation of this professional project has revealed many insights into my abilities as an educator. Designing a curriculum overview and crafting detailed lesson plans has fueled my passion for fostering inclusive learning environments and promoting diversity in education. It's also revealed my capacity for creativity and innovation in developing engaging instructional strategies. Leading this project emphasized the importance of effective communication, organization, and adaptability. However, creating my professional project also involved several challenges and limitations. One major challenge was narrowing my focus to decide which literary gaps to include, as I aimed to include diverse voices while knowing I couldn't cover everything in a single course. Selecting appropriate texts and materials was daunting due to the vast array of literature available. Balancing the depth of the content and the breadth of the themes was also challenging, as I needed each theme to be explored meaningfully within limited classroom time. This led to connecting themes across various units, such as intersectionality being woven throughout the curriculum. Another significant limitation was not having my own classroom. Although I collaborated with a high school English teacher who provided valuable feedback after implementing 2 of my lesson plans into her own classroom, I lacked first-hand experience in implementing strategies and tailoring lessons based on students' prior knowledge and learning needs. The importance of continual improvement and adaptation was also very clear throughout my project. As I transitioned into having my own English classroom, I plan to build upon this curriculum by creating additional lesson plans to further enhance student engagement and learning outcomes. One major revision I would make would be to incorporate scaffolding tools into each lesson plan to accommodate diverse learning needs. This might include using graphic organizers, step-by-step instructions, and differentiated tasks to support students with varying levels of prior knowledge and skills. I also plan on exploring how to integrate translingual pedagogy to weave multilingualism throughout the curriculum. Another revision involves creating a clear roadmap to connect overarching themes between units, helping students see how different texts and units interlink and build upon one another. This would reinforce the material learned and encourage students to draw broader connections. Finally, I would develop and incorporate rubrics into the summative assessments, as suggested by Ms. Simeone, to provide clear guidelines for evaluating student performance and enhance the effectiveness of assessment strategies. As I conclude my professional project, I'm reminded of the profound impact it has had on my growth as an educator. Through this process, I've not only developed a comprehensive curriculum, but have also honed essential skills such as creativity, adaptability, and leadership. This project has reinforced my commitment to fostering inclusive learning environments and promoting diversity in education. Moving forward, I am eager to implement the lessons learned and continue striving toward creating meaningful educational experiences that empower and inspire students. Thank you for watching.